Now, the rest of the story.
Well, the goal is to be done in the next day or two. Hopefully the rain they're calling for tonight, which you can actually see the rain coming across there for a while, but it looks like it tapered north. They're not really calling for a whole lot like rain. Looks like they're calling for like sporadic showers throughout the night. But to be completely honest with you, this time of year, it gets wet. It's going to stay wet. It's not going to really dry up. It could freeze. I'm really hoping that all it ends up being is the rain that we end up getting is really not much different than a heavy dew, and we could still run tomorrow. The first 2 or 3 hours running today even, the plants were tough. It still didn't affect the yield or nothing, just had to turn everything up a little bit, run a little bit quicker. But overall, it's running good. It's dry. We're running 16% moisture, which means the stuff, it flows like water. And what I mean when I say that is when it's in the hopper of the combine, when it's in the grain carts, it really doesn't mound up. When there's much movement, it's kind of like a shake pan. It levels it off, and then it's pretty well a level hopper of corn. And if you're not careful, which I'm super guilty of it so far, the tank isn't, because this farm isn't super hilly, but it's, it slopes, and the problem is on the back end here, I have so many long passes where it's only staying like to one side. Well, the grain doesn't exactly want to flow around the rest of the tank to hit my other sensors. So I can look at my camera. Yeah, it looks like it's getting pretty full. But the camera isn't giving me the full story of the fact that I can't see the back. I can't see how far it is off the sides. All the camera's really showing me is I can't see the bubble up auger anymore, and if it's above the camera on the front end of the tank. So if the tank is filling unevenly, the corn will end up running out the sides of the tank, which I've probably done more than everybody else this year as far as cab corn. I had a pretty epic cab corn situation on the other side. I was watching the fence, I was opening the field up, and I was more worried about not running a steel stake into a corn roll. But last year it was a four-day job to get this farm off. Not last year, 2 years ago. It looks like, Dale's back up to the one truck. I know Ryan just pulled in. I don't know if there's another one coming. I was told we have 3 trucks to fill yet tonight. Before we call it a night, which is fine. I'm just wanting to make sure that we don't have anything left on the combine or that green cart, because there's no tarps on them. The red cart can hold whatever. I just don't want to have a bunch of exposed corn and nowhere to go with it, because I don't want to fill up the carts and being 12 miles from home, running back to the farm really isn't an option. I mean, I could probably go back it into my buddy's shed, but my problem with doing that though is the guy would probably empty it on me, so if I went back to get it, it'd be gone. There'd be nothing there left to get. I know he wouldn't do that, but there's a little bit of a joke going around with a scary clown statue setup that Brittany had for Halloween that was setting up down at my place last year. And I got the bright idea to take this said clown and I hid it in one of his machine sheds. And I did that in the middle of June. You guys really want to look out the side of the combine, sorry. I did that in the middle of June, and I didn't get a message till the second week of September. And all it was a picture of that clown. I mean, this thing's, it's creepy. I had it in the corner of my garage, and knowing that it's there, parking the truck at night and looking up and seeing that thing kind of in the light of the dark at night, yeah, it'll make you jump. Well, that's why I asked him after he sent me that picture of it. I'm like, says, did it make you jump when you saw it? He says, yeah, when I regained consciousness. He said he pretty well jumped out of his skin, which I wouldn't blame him. Fungicide for the win. We're in our last field of corn, and we're halfway done right now. It's going to be another full day of running, I'm willing to bet. Fungicide kept the stuff standing great. It actually, for being mid-November, we're not quite mid-November, it's actually a really pretty field of corn standing up waiting to be harvested, so I'm grateful for that. The resident wildlife didn't get too carried away, taking more than their fair share. They certainly did take more than their fair share, but no more than I've seen them do in the past. And we're pretty much playing chicken as to who's going to blink first. If we fill all the carts up and hoping there's a third truck coming, or we just fill up the truck that's here and pull the pin on it. I mean, they were threatening rain from 2 o'clock, and they just kept pushing it back and pushing it back. And the corn was definitely the better crop this year. Soybeans, I'm not a fan of soybeans. After this year, I don't care if I ever raise soybeans again. It was my worst crop of beans. Actually, a field that I got that's consistently like mid-60s, has always been 60 and above, I've run it for the last 10 years, and it ran just under 55 bushel to the acre this year. On this particular piece of ground, that's very poor. It was also the dirtiest beans we harvested this year. Like, I couldn't even see the bean head. But it was a variety of beans that wasn't very common for this area. It was new. I think that was playing to be part of it. But it was also a number that was meant to yield. When we put it in the ground, it was actually planted with the intention we were going to see 100 bushel beans. Because that field it's got good soil on it. Corn does well, beans typically do good. Not really getting carried away with the tillage practices on it, which I'm not anti-tillage, I'm pro-tillage. Make no mistake, I like me some old school chisel plowing. I'm just trying to get to where we're not doing it all the time and trying to do more of like a rotation basis. I did find that no-tilling into soybeans on my field, that no-tilling the beans between the corn stalks, we left the stalk stand from last year. I mean, the last thing that happened was the combine ran through it, and then the next thing that happened was I planted beans in it the next spring. I second-guessed myself all the way through June that if I should have went and replanted it or not. It looked poor, it looked crummy. I wasn't happy with myself because I thought it was a poor decision, and it did end up running 68 bushel to the acre. For the year we had, like being dry like it was, I was actually very happy with 68 bushel to the acre. I think somebody's trying to call me. Or not. I just want to get this second headland off, because if we do get a bunch of rain, the headlands on this field are the steepest part. It's just one big hilltop. And the last time this field was corn, it was actually this waterway right here. We had the 46 on that red cart, full of 17% moisture, corn. And Dale actually couldn't make it back up this waterway out of here on the outside around that first headland. And we had to go get the 82 that was on the green cart that year, because the 7920 wasn't a thing yet. And we actually had to transfer a bunch of the corn off of that red cart onto the green cart, just so we could get back out of here with the 46. So we're taking precautions. I do like running the 82 on that red. There's the phone call. Okay, so we know that we got trucks. The other truck is up there, I just can't see him. Just fine. Carts can get back to him. I'm gonna boogie a little bit. The combine can definitely take it. 3.5 miles an hour is probably going slow for a lot of people. 2.5 is what I typically run, because at running 2.5 miles an hour, making sure that the combine's doing a good job, the head isn't losing any ears or anything like that, and I'm able to stay ahead of everybody and still have to sit and wait for 20 minutes. But with running multiple trucks, I've been running faster than normal and letting the combine have a good workout, because I'd like to get done with corn harvest. I love harvest. I prefer planting over harvest, I truly do. Harvest is fun, don't get me wrong, but when I'm harvesting, I'm stressing about making money with what's coming through the combine. When I'm planting, you're naive and stupid and, I don't know, gullible and whatnot. You're not sure how everything's going to run yet. I mean, you're just trying to do your best job throughout the summer, and you're trying to do a good job getting it in the ground, which we did this year. We did a very good job getting our soybeans in the ground. We put, 400 acres in 2.5 days. That 7920 ran for 52 hours straight without shutting the engine off. We planted nonstop. Probably the most extreme case of us doing that. And the last 2 acres I planted in the rain. You think that would have done me some good, right? But that farm didn't yield that great either. Which, it's whatever. Excuse me. Gotta get this cart topped out so he can go up that waterway. I'm gonna go back over to that headland, go backwards again. Where Dale went? I think he went the other way. We don't have the radios or whatnot. We've talked about it. We've tried them. Tried the micromobiles. Didn't like them. I'll be honest with you, I didn't like them. Part of that was we should have went through and done more for antennas in the cabs. I had the one in the 76, and the problem is I don't think I had good enough ground to where it was actually transmitting properly. Because we tried running them for a harvest, and I can only stand listening to, huh? What? What'd you say? Repeat that again? I can't hear it. So, getting rid of the micromobiles, I really don't feel like hurt us, but at the same time, I've been willing to try them again on a limited case, and being able to chirp at each other quick would be nice. All right, you're out of here. Running the 82 and the 79 on the combine though, or on the cart, so mechanical front wheel drive for the win, because on my bottom ground that was 1,000% mud. That's why the 79 and 82 they're clear up to their axles. Their rims are all covered in mud, but it's whatever. And I gotta call Dad. All right, folks. This is probably the most fun I've had running combine in a long time. Not gonna lie. Because last year was ho hum whatever, but when everything was so just ugly wet. I mean, we didn't start corn harvest last year until the 1st November, and we were harvesting 26% corn. I should take a note out of my best friend's book and go put in a continuous flow dryer in another bin. It's on my list of wants, guys. It truly is. Not really crazy about sitting and daydreaming about all the money I'd like to spend, but if you just the quick off-the-cuff purchases, that bale wagon was one of them. Wasn't really planning on buying that second bale wagon I bought, but that was a Craigslist buy that came out of nowhere. But you got to have those from time to time. If I actually want to talk about splurge purchases, like if I actually had some play money, which I don't, a manure bucket with a grapple on it for the skid steer is actually pretty high up on the list. For the amount of bedding, corn fodder we feed, the bed pack we have, make it a lot quicker, a lot nicer. It's better than using my grapple bucket. Oh, Ryan's here. I'm gonna talk to you guys later because Ryan wants to ride. I'd rather talk to Ryan. Oh, Ryan didn't want to ride with me. He's too good to ride in the combine with his older brother. Oh well, at least we're not running the risk of fighting snow or whatever. But feeding the crop is definitely worth it. Like fungicide, we've been going back and forth on fungicide for years. And we always ultimately do some, you know. Well, seeing how nice this stuff turned out, like standing wise and everything, it's worth the money. The fungicide is. I wish we could have done some Y dropping. That didn't happen this year. That's fine. Actually burning through a bit of fuel today.